We are very happy to introduce to you the resource person for the day, uh, Mr. Shankar MM. Let us have a look at his video profile.
Mr. Shankar MM has an MBA, Masters in Public Policy, and is a FTP holder from IIM Ahmedabad. He brings over 20 years of experience across corporate, academic, and research training sectors. He excels in handling comprehensive research projects from initial client consultation to report delivery. As a seasoned trainer, Mr. Shankar is skilled in research methodology and is adept in data analytics using advanced statistical softwares. His experience in bridging the gap between academic theories and practical corporate applications makes him a valuable asset in both educational and professional settings. We welcome you, sir.
Over to you, Mr. Shankar. Most welcome to the session. Yeah, you can begin now.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you can able to see my screen. Is it my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, you're perfect to go.
Okay, fine. So once again, I welcome all the research aspirant. Okay, uh, it's through Don Bosco institutions. Okay. The topic what I'm going to cover for another other is the building blocks of research, connecting the dots. Uh, okay. When I say connecting the dots, okay, first we should understand what is this dot or what is this pillar or what is the bedrock in the research. Normally, I call as a four circle, but you can call dot or you can call pillar also. So whomsoever do research, irrespective of corporate or a consultant or academic research, they have to focus on this four circle. One thing what we call as theory, which includes a body of knowledge, principles and practices, domain knowledge and business knowledge, and your research question, your hypothesis, proposition, and your assumptions of the study, all packed together. I just calling very overarching name called a theory circle. Next, one thing what we call as a data, measures, and stats. Okay, theory is a kind of a very kind of a mind level. Okay, or you can call it very invisible, very abstract by nature. Converting this abstract into very concrete is the role of data and the role of measures, and also the role of statistics. Now that is a played very big role. Okay, without statistics or without measures or data, so theory cannot be taken the manifested role to the reality. The next circle, what I call as a algorithm and a software. When I say algorithm, again it is stats only, but in a very larger way, I can call as a using machine learning, deep learning, all kind of algorithm using various software like Python, R, SPSS, OMOS, JAS, etc., etc. Now, the first question is when to use what kind of software. Okay. The whole focus of this program is on a software orientation. Which of the softwares are available, which of the softwares you can use it, and what you can obtain from the software, what you cannot obtain from the software, and whether you have to pay money for that or you can able to access cost of free. This all we are going to see in this another 1 hour. At end, we are saying something called visualization, reporting, and communication. When you say visualization, it is not mere graphs, it is not mere charts, it is more than that. A graph can speak what 1,000 words cannot speak. A picture can speak what 10,000 words cannot speak. So that is where the graphs and charts are important. But it is not just isolated chart or random pictures. It is a well-connected theory and which is vetted through data and which is tested through some software. And the outcome is like very systematic research report how to do that. So connecting this four dot is very important. The convergence among these four dots will bring a singularity of understanding. A disbursement of four dots will make you as nowhere in the research journey. Okay. However, there are four things are important. My focus today only on algorithm and software, especially what software user friendly for the researcher, what software may not user friendly, but still it is useful for you. So carry forward to next slide. Okay. So I'm not going to get into too much of theoretical or too much of very fundamental of what is paradigm, other things. Okay, so I straight away go for a different software, what we are going to use it. Okay. Okay. So if you see this one, okay, broadly, everyone aware of, especially country like India, I have seen many people they're obsessed with SPSS, or we can say they know only one software is SPSS to use for research. That is how it was. It was there. But now slowly I can see there are changes happening in the field of academics, especially how they see the software. The key software like SPSS, now what we call as IBM SPSS, then IBM SPSS and OMOS, or shortly called OMOS, and Smart PLS and R. So this is a core software has got a lot of impact in the Indian academics. So we know as just starting the history of this software, SPS is very old. Okay, like a 1968 product now, almost 5 to 6 decades is over. It served for many millions of researchers across the world, which has got very unique about the product is it can do a multivariate analysis a long back, not now. It may be very long back. It started doing multivariate analysis and business intelligence. Okay. However, when we are moving further, academic research has got obsessed or we can call as method of madness of what we can call as a structural equation model. Okay. You can't keep a thesis without structural equation model. Even some private university have seen that if you are not using structural equation model, you can't get the PhD. Okay, but this structural equation model for SPSS or almost SPSS came through a person named called James Arbuckle. So in 1990s, he just introduced this product. Okay, in fact, SPSS purchased this product because they have the missing elephant in the room. Okay, compared to Literal product, that is a original same product. They don't have a product can match with the Literal. Then they bought the product that is called the Amos, which is quite useful for a covariance based structural equation model. Okay. Then smart PLS, it is an alternative or a rivalry for a CBSM that is what we can call as PLSM. Okay, so this though there are various PLSM models are there like VAR PLS, but smart PLS played vital role, which is it is leading the competition. Especially many people, India or out of India, started using this product. It is developed by Christian Rinkel, Joel Hensler, and Marco Sastet. It is a mid 2000 it is came, but it is a kind of catching the many things. Compared to IBM SPSS, almost Smart PLS is very user friendly. It look like a child's play. You can just drag drop. You can get something fantastic output, and it can excite you like anything also. So that is what Smart PLS can do for you. Through the smart PLS, we can do something called path modeling algorithm or OLS and advanced bootstrapping. There are many things to cover in this area. And one of the great product, which is called open source R, which is democratizing the data analysis even for any common man. That credit goes to R only. So, though we are saying that R designed by Ross, Elakan, Robert, the University of Auckland, now no one can claim I'm the parent of R because it has got more parents and more grandparents also. It has got more than 40,000 packages now. Okay, so it can be used for many purposes, especially for data orientation, then visualization and reporting and etc. So going to the next things, okay. So the Jomovi and Jazz, they are a new kids to the block of data analysis or landscape. When you say Jomovi and Jazz, it is it is not like a kind of a new product. It is a wrapper actually. This wrapper is done by Amsterdam University. Okay, the heart of the Jomovi Jazz is R actually. So they made a R and they put a wrapper outside of the R and they call it a Jomovi and Jazz. They're taking the pain of writing code from the researcher. So just a guide, graphical user interface, drag drop, will get the output, it will get excite you, and it's very easy to use. So that is a 2010, mid of 2010. We got this product Jomovi and Jasp. It's a really wonderful product. I encourage all of you to use this product, and it is very easy to use also. Then another democratization of data analysis is Python. So Python and R is a double barrel gun for us, okay, which have a two side of gun. You can shoot out any kind of complexity in the data analysis. I personally, I benefited a lot out of this product, and I hope it may be useful for you also. When compared to Python and R, Python has got slightly higher edge because of its what we can call as usability application of machine learning, deep learning, and AI, etc. And Stata, the most product which is underrated in India is Stata. It's a quite good product, but somehow it doesn't click in Indian, except a very few good reputed universities, professors are using Stata regularly. Now going to the things, what can software can do, what cannot do, that should be very clear. It can automate your work. That is the purpose of software. You no need to do the same work again and again. That because of that, it can save our time and it can give a output whatever we want. But one thing we should remember that it cannot think itself like you and me. Okay, now these slides I prepared quite long back before ChatGPT come. Now in the avatar of ChatGPT or in the presence of ChatGPT, I should revise this is sometimes software can think also, but not like you and me. It can think like a machine, not like a man. So that you know. And you might have excited to use the ChatGPT, and you can see a lot of hallucination is happening in the ChatGPT. Like when I say hallucination, it will create its own text and give it to you. It is not existing at all. Okay, so that human being cannot do, only software doing as of now. And software can give the output, it can save your time, but it cannot give the wisdom. Okay, it can provide a lot of information. Okay, whether you want t-test, yes, you can get it. Whether you want ANOVA, you can get it. Or you can get factor analysis or any other complicated structural equation model. In a just click, you can get the information output, but the wisdom behind this relationship, what is happening, what is the underlying construct, what is underpinning theory, software cannot figure out. So that is where we should know what software can do, what it cannot do. It cannot link output with implication. Okay, it can show look here, this is your output, but it cannot say what is the implication of that. To connect this output and implication, obviously we need a human being or we need a sensible human being. Okay, that's a great job of human being. So I hope you can understand what software can do, what software cannot do from this slide. Now getting into deep dive. Okay, what I mean as all the software, okay, who is can use, what is useful of that, when can be used, when cannot be used, I want to make. So I made a very rough the kind of matrix. Okay, so you can see this portion, you can see a lot of software I mentioned, and on the vertical wise, I'm showing the different parameters I'm considering myself. Okay, this is I just came. It is was not available in any book. Out of my experience, I figured out okay, we have to create this kind of matrix to educate our a novice researcher or sometime experienced researcher also. Okay, so the domain-wise R can applicable for any domain. So when I say domain, what I mean to domain? Okay, when I say domain, R can be used for psychometric tests, econometric tests, cross-section tests, or it can be used for time series analysis. Any domain R can fit very well. So when I say psychometric stress, it is very simple or layman language, it's a questionnaire-based data. So if you have a questionnaire-based data, R can do very good job for you. Okay. And if you have time series, R can do very good job for you. And if it is some kind of a DA experimental research, again, R can do very good things for you. Interface is intermediate level. I won't say interface is very great or very bad because we will not use R as a software. We'll use IDE called R Studio. So R Studio has got very fair or a good kind of interface. It is not a very, it is not like very user friendly or not like a very easy to access also. So that is what I mean, ease of navigation. Volume of data, R can use really millions of data, doesn't matter at all. And it can work very fast also. Because personally, I use some of the, at least 1 or 2 lakhs of data. I figured out how R is works. It is really doing a great job. Okay. So moving to whether R is only for statistics or some kind of ML or AI, yes, R can do all this kind of things. It can work very well for ML and very well for AI also. And what is this output? Sometimes I've seen people say our output looks so cluttered. Text, I can't figure out what I should do with this, or can I use it for any journal publication? All this can be answered by using R Markdown rather than just simply using a vanilla R. So I suggest if you want to finish your whole thesis or whole PhD, if you want to write your whole old paper, starting from abstract tool, citation, data analysis, graph, everything can be done in one place using R Markdown. It is amazing tool. I request you have to use this if you not tried it till now. Okay. And data preparation, because data preparation is very, very important. Before we're jumping into data analysis, there is something called data preparation. We have to know how to clean the data because data never assure, data never speaks for itself, and data always come with a very, very erratic. Okay, so how to do this? We can't take this erratic data, run the analysis, how to handle the missing cases, how to fill the data, how to impute the data. All the stuffs can be done with the help of data preparation. R can do a really good job on this. Okay, and it is open source that is blessed for us. We don't need to pay single penny out of our packet to use R. Now, next coming our so-called grandfather product, like almost 6 decade over IBM SPSS. Personally, we're asking, I will not use IBM for a time series data. I'll use IBM only for a market research, academics, and psychometrics. When I say psychometrics about questionnaire-based data, it's very, very user-friendly. Okay. So if there is a, what is a magic behind SPSS, why people are using after 60 years also means the one reason is it's user-friendly. Interface also user-friendly, navigation also user-friendly. It's very, very user-friendly. But when come to volume of data, SPSS cannot handle big data. But for academics, it's no problem because for academics, big means even 1,000 is a big for them. But in industry standard, it may go 1 lakh, 2 lakh, even 1 lakh, 2 lakh is small for them. So the word big, small is very relative term. But for academics, doesn't matter. It can use very well. Or is SPS is known for stats rather than ML, but still they're also adding a lot of ML techniques here and there. And output, I can say it's very accessible. Okay, some extent user friendly, but if you want to prepare the great data preparation, it's user friendly. If you know how to write a syntax in SPSS, when I say syntax code, because SPS also come with a code. Okay, so easiest way if you want to quickly run the code in the first minute, what I suggest, whenever you do any out analysis in SPSS, you will say okay, right? Instead of say okay, say paste, click paste. That will paste the code behind the analysis. Then you can just select the code, say Control R, you will get the output. So that is what I mean as a syntax. Okay, you no need to create your own syntax. SPS has already created a syntax and keep it behind the button called paste. The moment you click the paste, it will pop up a new file and it will paste the syntax there. You select the syntax, say Control R, you'll get the output. Right. One news we know, SPS is not cost of free, at least theoretically. Technically, it is a proprietary product. Okay, but we know in India, okay, we easily get a crack version. Okay, there is not much concern for people to use a crack version also. So you can use it just like that. You can get benefit out of that. But my one request is please go beyond SPSS. Don't be happy with SPSS. Okay, and there is no any. We given a contract with SPSS that I use only SPSS till my last day. Nothing like that. So you can go beyond SPSS, like you can use R. That's a really great product. Then coming to psychometric technique, exclusive for psychometric, like a questionnaire-based method. And if you have very multiple simultaneous equation, complicated relationship, and multiple independent variable, dependent variable, then the software comes is almost analysis of months of structure, not so user-friendly at all. Because many times I struggle, then I curse myself why I'm using this product. Okay, but 10 years before, I don't have options, so I have to use only Amos. Okay, but now it got very much relaxed because of R. You can use a complete CBSM using a R package called Lavan package. That is really user friendly. But coming to Amos again, though it is not user friendly, navigation is you have to make a diagram, you have to drag your mouse. So that's a very negotiation job actually. And volume of data also not so great. It can handle only low data only. Available algorithm technique is only for CBSM. Beyond that, you can't do anything. Extraction output also not so user friendly, but still it's okay. And data preparation, you can't do any data preparation. If you want to prepare data, you do it everything in Excel or SPSS or R and bring it back to again to the again to the Amos. It's a proprietary, but I personally feel that's a time for say buy to Amos. Is I personally I didn't use Amos for quite a long time. If someone requests, I'll just make Amos. Otherwise, I'm happy with the R and And otherwise I can go with what we can call a smart PLS. Okay, coming to smart PLS, smart PLS is a substitute not only for a product of Almost. The concept of smart PLS built upon what we can call as PLSM, that is called partially square structural equation model, which is quantum competitor for CBSM also. Okay, people who could not get a very good result from CBSM, they started moving to the next camp called a smart PLS camp. Okay, it's a very user friendly. Navigation is so good. Okay, a volume of data it can handle sizably good data, but I personally felt so low when compared to industry standard. Okay, available algorithm is only PLSM algorithm is there. Accessible is very easy. And the data preparation also nil here. You can't do any data preparation. You have to use R or SPSS or Excel for data preparation. And very sad news is we won't get a crack version from Smart PLS. It's only proprietary products. We have to pay for that. But however, it is not a big bomb for us like Almost or SPSS. If we are ready to shell out some 3 to 4K per month, okay, you can get the month-wise license also. Monthly license is available in a smart PLS. Okay, now coming to the next combined product, what JASP and Jomovi, because the both come from same university, both come from same source of code called R. So I don't find any differentiation between Jomovi and JASP. But there is a one difference here is JASP can use for machine learning. Okay, like if you want to use a different types of cluster analysis, if you want to use a classification model, JASP is slightly better than Jamovi. And Jamovi is a typical basics statistics, still reliability, then you can say factor analysis, Jamovi can do good job. But both are not meant for time series, it's only meant for academics purpose and psychometric tests. And good news is open source, okay. And bad news is they need a really great donation to sustain. So I request you can donate some money for JASP and Jamovi to survive for a long time so it can benefit for many people also. Then back to Python. Python is a kind of horsepower language. Okay, it is like amazing in terms of data preparation, in terms of volume of data it can handle, a very fast actually, and it can do any kind of wonder with the statistics, ML, and AI. But how I see these two product, the R and Python, if your research depends on more traditional statistics, better you go for R. Domain wise, R is really rich. If you want to time series analysis, R has got all kind of packages. If you want to do some kind of data environment analysis, R has got all packages. So in that way, I will just bet for R rather than a Python. But if you want to run a computer science engineering research like AI, ML, then Python is the best bet than R. In fact, learning Python is easy than R actually because the packages are very systematic, easy to figure out what we're trying to look like almost like English, like a for loop means you have to say for I equal to n, then colon, and just write. So it is very simple, like almost look like English you are writing. Okay. Now the next thing is Stata, which I said Stata is a very good package, but it is a kind of underrated heroine for a long time in the Indian subcontinent. It can do psychometrics, it can do econometrics, and very user friendly. Volume of data reasonably can do good job. It is not more. It is more on stats and ML rather than AI. Okay? And it can do great job of data by using commands rather than a graphical user interface menu driven approach. It can handle all sort of complex data. So you can see if you see some of the UND report or UNO report, they mentioned that the report is prepared with the help of Stata. So Stata has got that much of very reliable kind of activities. Okay, so this is what I just want to cover in terms of statistics, in terms of software, what are the softwares are there. So going back once again, just for my curiosity or for your understanding, you can take JASP and Jomovi for a basic analysis, very user friendly. Okay, if you are not don't want to do any code, you don't want to put your hands in the code and spoil your mood. But if you are a kind of guy who want adventure with the code and see something what is a code can do rather than using dragging the mouse, so I suggest you can go by something called R and Python. Okay. And for smart PLS, yes, it's a really good software, easy to use. If you're ready to shell out the money for a 3 or 4,000 per month for doing your project, smart PLS can do great job. But I am completely not favor of almost, because many times I wonder who made this software. And one more thing, we can't blame the people. The software came in 1990s and they didn't upgrade the software on a very great level. Because even if they're going to upgrade, they're not going to get a great money out of this software. That is why IBM never bother about this software. But they need this kit in the, they need these tools in their kit, so just kept it. Okay, now moving from what software, why I'm using particular software, I'm going for next one level down, or a new layer called choice of statistical tests. Okay, this is like a kind of very primer. Okay, many people already aware of this, but still, my duty to just to educate the people who are eagerly looking on these topics. Okay, so how do you decide whether I should use a t-test or ANOVA or a chi-square? So I'm starting with a chi-square or z proportion. The purpose of doing chi-square is significant difference. Okay, and should have only two variable, that is bivariate, x variable and y variable, and both variables should be categorical data and never use continuous for a chi-square. Okay, it looked like you are trying to just trying to hold in the wall by taking the hammer. So don't do that kind of mistake. Sometimes you will get the output, but don't think it is a right. Okay, because software does not think on its own. Whatever you just give, it will just throw you out. Okay. So back to the things, you can use a chi-square when two variables are categorical data. Here, example I given is the attrition rate. Okay, when you say attrition rate, where attrition is yes or no, that is a level, and other variable is a gender, whether male or female or transgender. Okay, so you can find association or a difference between a two categorical variable, then you can use a chi-square or a z proportion. Normally, in industry, Z proportion is more valued than a chi-square, because chi-square is a global technique, but not a very localized technique. But Z proportion is very pinpointing the layer by layer data. Chi-square cannot do that. But in academics, chi-squares have some upper hand compared to Z proportion. I really don't know how it has happened, but that is how it has happened also. Okay. And you can use a very simple graph like a stack at 100%. You can use a graph, you can show nice picture out of that. Is it fine? Good. So next thing is the next technique. The next technique is what I'm calling as MW test. Man-Whitney test, KW test, Kurzweil-Wallis test. Okay, this is all Russian name. Okay, Kurzweil-Wallis test. Okay. So now the purpose of doing these two tests is again significant difference, two variable, x variable, y variable, and gender and job satisfaction. Okay, when I say job satisfaction, when I say job satisfaction, okay, this one is categorical, one is continuous. I think I said categorical. I'm sorry for that. One is categorical, one is continuous. So when you say job satisfaction, it can be measured through some rating scale or set of items aggregated and getting score out of that, and labeling is a job satisfaction. Okay, how job satisfaction is vary between male and female, then the distribution is non-normal, then you can go for Man-Whitney test. Similarly, if you have more than two groups, for instance, when you say gender is male and female, or if I'm going to add one more gender called transgender, then the group become three rather than two. Similarly, department is more than two department, then job satisfaction is the y variable. We want to find out the significant difference among the various level of gender when it was three category, or various level of a group when it is more than two category. We can use something called a Kurzweil-Wallis test. Okay, provided the distribution we are assuming is a non-normal distribution. Okay, now if you see, when I'm just navigating the slide from MW test to T test and ANOVA, nothing is changing. Okay, only one is changing. What I'm going to say is, you can see earlier it was non-normal, now it is a normal, right? Otherwise, the status quo is maintained. Okay, for one continuous variable, one categorical variable, significant difference. The T test for a two group and more than two groups, one way ANOVA. Okay, provided your distribution is normal. Now here I want to bring to your notice that this normal distribution, normally we will not get in this kind of studies, because our data, if you're capturing through a rating scale 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, People has got tendency to give more score for or obviously score for 5 and 4 rather than 1 and 2, and occasionally they'll choose 2 or 3. So data itself already got some kind of skewedness. We can't expect a normality in this data, and also it won't be abnormal data because already we made a cap. The lower limit is 1, upper limit is 7 or 5. So, and getting into trouble of whether normal data, non-normal data is not at all a big thing here. You can just compromise the trigger for this, and you can straight away use a t-test and ANOVA for the to test a significant difference, okay, on the any quantitative variable. Now, next, followed by significant different test, there's something called significant relation. You can do only two things in the whole statistical testing of hypothesis. You can find out a significant difference, or you can find out significant relation. Okay, when you say significant relation, okay, the two variables should be continuous. One, I am taking turnover intention and the job satisfaction. Turnover intention can be captured with the help of rating scale, just making aggregate score of set of items and getting mean score or summation score as a y variable, similar thing for x variable, and trying to relate two variables as a series of data. And we are assuming that distribution should be normal for a Pearson correlation. And for Spearman correlation, the distribution should be non-normal because the data capturing base is ranked data. This can be depicted in the form of scatter plot for both ways. Okay, so broadly speaking, a testing of hypothesis has got only two level: one based on significant difference, one based on significant relationship. Okay, apart from that, are you happy with the two variable? Certainly not, because when you want to make your research close to reality, you have to take a more variables, like not a 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you can take 100 variables. Sometimes you can take a 50 variables. That problem always come with a number of variables. Number of variable is good, like a number of, if you have more kind of relatives, it's good for us, but that will come with a cost also because every time they will trouble you, right? Similarly, if you take more variables, it's a good news. You are close to reality. The bad news is, okay, how to reduce it again? Because we can't project all the 100 variables, how to report it. So that things will happen. To address this, what we are trying to do means multivariate interdependence technique, which is called factor model or factor analysis and cluster analysis, right? So when you say two purpose, basically for factor analysis and cluster analysis, when I say a sort of dimension reduction technique or data reduction technique, I'll go by factor analysis. Okay, but factor analysis or EFA is applied not on raw data; it is applied on correlation matrix. Okay, so when you say correlation matrix, first we'll convert a raw data into a correlation score in the form of matrix. On top of that, our software will apply EFA. So that is important. And in a factor analysis, you can represent eigenvalue, factor loadings, etc. Eigenvalue is a sum of square of all the variables in the given factors, and factor loading is a relationship between the factor and the variables. I don't want to get into too much of nitty-gritty of statistics in this juncture, but my job is to say that yes, there is a technique, factor analysis, where you can reduce and you can show much better way. Similarly, there is another technique called cluster model or cluster analysis. Predominantly, it is used for segmentation in the marketing research, which is quite useful. And it will take all selected variables. We'll call a k-means cluster, where here k stand for number of cluster. Okay, so we don't know how to decide the number of cluster. Now, the recent statistical or machine learning knowledge or machine learning theory says you can use something called elbow things, elbow figure or silhouette score. So based on information criteria, the lowest score in elbow method, that's a better or optimal cluster model for us. Similarly, a silhouette score should be high for to say the better optimal cluster group, number of groups. So similarly, how EFA works on correlation matrix, not on raw data, K-means cluster works on distance. So when you say distance, it's a very simple subtraction. Okay, but we will not use a normal subtraction or normal distance. We'll use something Euclidean distance, which is trying to normalize the different scores actually. So this is about what we can call as a cluster analysis, right? So we have two very big technique for academic people. One is factor analysis, one is cluster analysis to reduce the data. Okay. Now to put all the things in a nutshell to make you quickly understand what I'm trying to do here. So you have something called raw data. Okay. And we are not applying statistics on the raw data. We'll convert this raw data into some base stats. What I mean as a base stats. So base stats means going back to basics like mean, median, mode. Okay, that is one of the central tendency measure or basic statistics or descriptive statistics, right? So every statistics based on base statistics, not based on raw data. Okay. Now, if you take a t-test, ANOVA, Pearson, this all based on base stats of mean. This is called mean-based technique. Okay. Similarly, MW, that is called a man-Whitney test, KS, sorry, it is not a KS, it's a KW, Kurzweil-Wallis test, okay, and a Spearman rank correlation. For all this data, you need a median as a base statistics. Then moving further mean to median to mode, if you're doing chi-square and z proportion, this all based on mode, the frequency of repetition in the available data. So fundamentally, you should know first mean, median, mode before it's getting into very high statistics like t-test and all these things. Even if you don't know how to compute t-test ANOVA manually, conceptually you understand what is the role of mean, median, mode in using t-test ANOVA, KW test, chi-square, z proportion, etc. Now, this all mean for what we can call as bivariate. But when coming to multivariate technique, okay, the base status is a correlation or covariance matrix. For instance, EFA, CFA, and SEM. So people, I hope people coming from academics background, they all are aware of what is EFA, CFA, and SEM. However, for the benefit of a newcomer, EFA stands for exploratory factor analysis, CFA stands for confirmatory factor analysis, SEM stands for structural equation model. Okay, when I say SEM here, it is about a CBSEM. Okay. So this all the technique is, what is the foundation for technique is covariance, correlation or covariance. The difference between correlation and covariance is technically speaking, it is about the presence or absence of standard deviation. So in a correlation, there is a presence of standard deviation. In covariance, absence of standard deviation. Okay. So then next, what we call k-means or cluster, it is running with the help of distance. So this one chart will just give you very good understanding about what is the fundamental statistics to do testing of hypothesis or even to do or execute the multivariate data analysis. Now coming back to connecting to our software, the quantitative research software based on data analysis. So one thing is you can use a basic statistics, you can use SPSS or you can use Stata or you can use SAS. Actually, SAS is a great product. Even till now, also it's a great product. But in academic world, say SAS is not really doing would not do a great job because SAS is very costly, and it is meant for industry people rather than for academics. But the intervention or introduction of R and Python, they killed the market share of SAS. Okay, because they are cost of free and they can do much better than what other software can do. So if you are doing a basic t-test, ANOVA, correlation, regression, this all the software you can do just blindly. And if you're doing time series, I suggest the first preference you should keep Stata, followed by eView and R, but not JASP and Geomovie. I don't know why I placed here. In JASP, they introduced something called basics of Arima, I think, because the very recent updated or upgraded version of JASP, I happen to see there is a Arima basic model and also something called Prophet. Okay, so Prophet is not our normal Prophet. It is a Prophet. It's a package. It is meant for time series analysis developed by Facebook. Okay, so Facebook claims they can able to predict very accurately more people, especially when they laugh, when they cry. They can even see that level of data set by using many things. Now, one of the predictor tool they introduced is a profit, which is meant for a time series analysis. Otherwise, you can use a Gretel. Gretel is a good software and very, very user-friendly software. I didn't have much hands-on experience with Gretel, but some of my friends they used to say that Gretel is easy to use, and I also once in a while I use that. Yes, it is easy to use, but in terms of output, I'm not very much impressed when compared to R Markdown. Okay, Python, yes, Python is again it's a good bet for a time series analysis. We can easily do a time like a ARIMA model and GARCH model are very strong in Python. Sometimes if you do a remote model or GARCH model in Python and R, your output may slightly vary. You won't get the same output for the same data. So don't get panic or don't get confusion which one to use. Both are doing good job. Internally, their algorithm, the treatment slightly vary actually. Okay, if you're coming to CBSM, that is called a covariance-based structural equation model, which is dominating the academic field since 1985, at least in US, not in India. In India, the fever of SIM started, into my knowledge, almost like 2000, maybe 10. People started to speak about the SIM, then without SIM, we can't live. That kind of things, people started the narration. So the best software for USM is Lizrael. Okay, but Lizrael is now slow. It's a fading because of one thing is it is not much available in the hands. But almost is many people are having almost because of or thanks to crack version. And using R, you can use to some extent CBSM. JASP also you can use some extent CBSM. Now, the very people says the good product for CBSM is now the new product. Not new means at least for India it is new because many people may not aware there is a product called M plus. Muthan and Muthan, the two researcher, they made a product. I think from European region and not US. Okay, so this is a great product, but in India the presence of M plus is very, very scant. Okay, but still the good reputed universities are using the same CBSM by using M plus. The next I'm moving to PLSM where we already seen what PLS is good, smart PLS is good. In our earlier I used to use a PLSM. There is a package called PLSM. It's a really wonderful packages, but now it got deprecated. It does not have a community support. So I don't know what happened now. I have a code, but I can't run it. So this is one of the problem with the open source product. Silently they'll remove some of the packages or they say it's deprecated. So you don't know what to do further. Okay, I have this kind of bad experience with PLSM because I have done at least I can say 2 or 3 dozens of project. I have a code for different complex problem using a R to sort out the PLSM, but now I can't use it because that particular package is not working. But someone told Semin R is very useful, but I don't have much hands-on experience with Semin R. Then moving to experimental design, because experimental domain also very important for academics, especially mechanical engineering and chemical engineering, civil. These people use a lot of experimental research. So one great software is design of experiment, DOE. That's a good software. Okay, or SysStat. SysStat also can do good job. Okay, SysStat is almost look like SPSS, or it can we can say it's a sister can look like sister version of SPSS. Okay, but it was not very much presence in the market. To my knowledge, only few old IITians are patronizing a SysStat out of habit. Okay, then you can go with experimental design. R can do good job. Little bit of JASP can do. SPSS also can do little bit of experimental design job, especially using repeated measures or two-way ANOVA, that kind of things where R can help us. ML, that is called machine learning. In SPSS, we have one product called SPSS Modeler. Very costly product, one system or one license, it makes 5 lakhs or something else. Okay, so but now I'm not using, but earlier I used when I was in the some of the companies. Okay, then the equivalent for SaaS is what we can call a SaaS EMS, SaaS Enterprise Miner. It's a very good software, very, very user friendly and very, very impressive. But now these are very costly. So that is why the reason is people moved out of my people migrated to R and Python, which is open source. and you can contribute anything, and community support is very extended. Okay, any question you just put it in a stack, you will get the output, or you will just put it in a chat gbt. Especially r python and chat gpt can go very well rather than r and chat gpt. So if you type any question related with the python in chat gbt, you'll get the code immediately with a fantastic, just copy paste the code, customize as per your variables in the research, will get the output. But same thing is not happening for r, because for r ChatGPT is many times confused. It will say, it will give a lot of wrong answer, then it will give keep on asking sorry, mindless sorry. Okay, so this is how JASP and sorry R and Python can go with the machine learning with help of ChatGPT, without help of ChatGPT. Okay, because we can take a separate session how to use ChatGPT to get R and Python. That's a separate session. Now I don't want to get into that area. Okay, you can see there is a legend is some are blue, some are white. These whites are commercial paper, commercial product. Blue one is what we can call as uh, open source. Okay, open source one feature is cost of free, at least for an individual system. If you're going the same open source for a larger company or organization, they have to pay for it. Okay, best practice to be followed. Okay, what are the best practice to be followed? Okay, one thing is keep the statistical concepts clear. And don't try to complicate, because statistics itself are complicated. You don't put more complicate on the complicate things. And try to play with the data and make comfortable with the software. See, software is almost like a human being. Okay, to understand the human being, you have to spend a lot of time with them, maybe 1 year, 2 years. Then you come to know whether this guy is good or bad, or when this guy will useful to you, or when this guy may not useful to you. Similarly, okay, software also. By just running a 1 day in R program or Python, you can't come to any conclusion is it a good or bad. So you need a good number of hours, at least 100 hours or 200 hours, to understand what is this software and make yourself comfortable with software. Okay, see, software, sometimes software makes you comfortable because of user interface. Okay, sometimes we have to make comfortable the software because of our intention of why I'm doing this. So both way the comfortability is important. Then design the flow of data analysis chapter. Before you're doing the data analysis, don't jump into data analysis the moment you saw the data. Okay, read the data, see the variables, what's the sample, where it come from. So try to play with it and have a very good design in your mind, a kind of blueprint, when to use what kind of test for this kind of question, what kind of analysis. Is it a treatment is necessary, transformation is necessary, or normalization is needed, missing case is needed or not needed, imputation is needed or not needed. So have a good plan and see your hypothesis very intact with your data. Then you can start do the analysis, right? So, and before you are doing the analysis, you should know what do you have to get from the data, right? Get from the software or get from the particular technique. So you should know what table I have to extract, which is a format for me to be reported. Because the format for what we are reporting in PhD thesis is different. Format what we are reporting in a journals article is different. So that should be very clear. Okay, and use combination of 2 to 3 software for best outcomes. You don't need to be loyal for one software like SPSS to whole lifetime. You can use SPSS, Python, R, or JASP, Jamovi, combination of 2, 3 software. Okay, if you want to use some kind of textual analytics, you can go with a Python or a R. If you want a very basic structure of analysis, you can go with SPSS and JASP and Jamovi. So don't depend on one software. That is not at all a good habit, because the softwares are like a very ephemeral. It is not like a long lasting. Okay, though SPSs are long lasting, but we are getting better product than SPSs in current days. And very important thing is when you're interpreting, use interpret with very cautious. Don't interpret like a very blanket interpretation. Okay, all the interpretations are all the table what you're doing. Always a pinch of salt. That is very important, because we know that a different dimension will change your output completely. Okay, the output what is cannot be explained by underlying theory, or like kind of unexplained variables are there. So You always be cautious while interpreting, follow some conditions, come criteria for that. Then assess the result and make suitable statistical inference. So once you get the result, the inference is very important. So when I say inference, two way, one is from statistics point of view, other is from business point of view. What is the implication for this? For instance, if you take R square, so R square is a statistical measure come from regression, which shows the quality metrics between independent variable and dependent variable, right? Higher the R square, higher, better the model. That is what normally we'll say. But this all come from the statistics point of view. What is from business point of view? So that also we should learn. What is R square meant for business? What is F square meant for business? What is F value meant for business? So that is also important. So your result is a blend of two things, the relevance and rigor. So you should know how to trade off between both rigor and relevance. Don't vote like very monopolize rigor is good enough over the relevance or vice versa. So these all the things what I want to cover to you from this whole exercise. So now I have another 5 minutes because I started a bit late, 6:18 I started. So now we reached almost 6:13. I have another 5 minutes. Any Q&A, I'm glad to clarify within this 5 minutes. Any question, please free feel to ask this. I hope you can able to connect to what I presented for
Yes.
last 55 minutes.
I think there has been a lot of information and you have made it as structured as possible, and it is surely quite clear for all the participants. We do not have any open questions today. I think we need time to mostly work on everything that has been said, and that's when we would be coming with questions. But there's been a lot of information, and thank you for putting it in such a structured way where you explained each of the tools, each of the techniques. So thank you a lot, sir.
Okay, fine. If something useful to you and your people, I'm great. I feel good enough. Okay.
Thank you. I would like to invite Ms. Professor Maria to propose a vote of thanks.
Okay, sure.
Good day, everyone. As we bring close to the insightful session titled Data Collection Strategies, Analyzing and Interpreting Research Finding, I'm honored to extend our collective appreciation to Mr. Shankar for his exceptional contribution to our faculty development program. Mr. Shankar, with your extensive knowledge and practical insights into data analysis, have significantly enriched our understanding of these crucial aspects of research. On behalf of Don Bosco College, I express our profound appreciation for the depth and clarity of your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Shankar, for a truly informative and transformative session. Your contributions to this program are greatly valued. And a special thank you to all the participants for your engaging presence. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.